Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Movie World. In the last episode, I finished off the dragon on top of Gringotts Bank. In this episode, hopefully we'll finish off the Harry Potter themed area, starting with one of the last empty spaces in my park. So, let's get into it. Now, before we begin on the new section of the Harry Potter themed area, let's fix this tram that does run through this Harry Potter themed area that I've been putting off the last two episodes. Now, imagine for a second a train crashing into a building. Yes, that is what was happening here, as the tram ran through the facade. This, obviously, makes it really unrealistic, making it the main reason why I had to move it. Now, originally, I thought I could move the tram over a coaster that I built a while back, but as you rode the coaster, your head got decapitated, which, yeah, I don't think you really want in real life. So, the tram can definitely not go here either. So, with that disappointment, I moved over to a different section of my park, which was rebuilding, or in this case, moving the Hogwarts flying car, over to the back of Gringotts Bank, as well as moving Hagrid's hut right next to it. After I finished moving Hagrid's hut and moving the Harry Potter car, I moved back to Diagon Alley, where I deleted one of the buildings, where I changed it to an alley. That will lead you into the new section that I'm building in this Harry Potter themed area. As I was building the alleyway, I definitely don't like what I built here, so I'll come back to it later off screen. But that is not why you clicked on this video. So let's move on to that. At the beginning of the episode, I forgot to tell you what is going in this area. Well, I'm telling you now. What is going in this area is Hogsmeade, so let's get into it. But first, let me finish the entrance into Hogsmeade, which again is just the alleyway. Now it's time to build the, What I was trying to say is, now it's time to build the layout of Hogsmeade. For those of you who don't know what Hogsmeade is, it's a village that is located by the school, or Hogwarts Castle. Now for the layout of this area, I decided to build it mostly behind Diagon Alley. On the opposite side from the alleyway, I decided to build a station to a new coaster that I'll build later on. After I finished building the layout to the coaster building, I went back to build the pathways, and connect the pathway to Diagon Alley. As I was building the pathways, it was getting kinda difficult to build. This is because the color was all the same, making it super confusing to distinguish the pathway from the building, and where to place the pathways. So, let's get into coloring the layout, so we can distinguish between the pathway and where the buildings will be placed. For the colors, I decided to use a dark gray for where the building's gonna go, and for the pathway, I used a dark grayish color cobblestone pathway. Earlier, I said I moved Hagrid's hut, but I lied to you. I am moving it here now. Now at this point, I wasn't 100%. Now I don't know what I was trying to say there, but what I was trying to say is I wasn't 100% sure what I was trying to do here, but I did know I needed to somehow transition the scenes between Harry Potter area and the Jurassic Park area. Honestly, after I was done placing the trees, I didn't really know what was gonna go here, so I just decided to build an outdoor eating area with a place where you can order food. However, I didn't finish this area, and I decided to change it later, which you'll see later on in this video. Now it's time to place some scenery down, starting with the rocks along the wall, and some trees, which is nothing too special. Now I just finished the scenery, and I went to look at everything that I just did, and I didn't really like how it looks, especially the pathway that leads up to this area. So I went and deleted everything, and regretting everything that I built. At this point, I'm messing with a few trees to make the connection between the Harry Potter area and the Jurassic Park area look a little better. Then I moved on back to Hogsmeade, where I started building the coaster. Now, a little realization hit me when I realized this area to build a coaster was definitely way too small. Now, to give a little bit of explanation, I started with a spiral, where I thought I could spiral the coaster and lead it underground. Where I realized that this will look really weird, and it would also be very unrealistic. Anyway, This is where I'll go off screen because I am having some difficulties building this coaster, and I'll get back to you once I figure it out. Now, many hours later, and many designs later, I finally figured out the coaster. Real quick, let's go over what I did. Starting with over here. Over here, I built 2 Immelman loops and 1 vertical loop. For those of you who don't know the coaster terminology, these are all inversions. Now over here at the beginning of the coaster, I built another Immelman loop or inversion, which goes into a airtime hill. Finally, in this area, it then leads you to 2 more inversions, which then leads you to another Immelman, back over to a section that I talked about earlier, and then into the brake run. Hopefully, with a better understanding of what this coaster looks like, let's move on to the buildings. As I was building the building, I definitely had trouble figuring out how to build it because of how strange these buildings are, with their really tall roofs. After I finished off the building, I moved on to the colors. However, as I was working on the colors, I didn't think it would be really difficult. Even with the extra colors, it was honestly not looking good every color I tried. Eventually though, I was able to figure it out, and it started looking good. After I finished the windows of this building, as well as the coloring, we move on to more Hogsmeade. Also, off screen, I kinda built more buildings, which was just copy and pasting the original building around the Hogsmeade area. With these 2 buildings, I decided to put interiors in it, but I didn't know fully what I was doing. I just know my end goal was to put one of these interiors to be a restaurant, with the other being a store. But let's just move on to something else, because apparently I have no idea what I'm doing here, and this is not looking too good. So, I'll come back to this later. Here I am building some brooms for another Harry Potter store for this Harry Potter themed area, which will be placed in the Hogsmeade area that I'm building. Yes, I said another store. I was stupid enough in not recording the first 2 stores that I built in this themed area. Now, for the Quidditch brooms, I decided to choose 3 characters. The characters that I chose were Harry, Ron, and Malfoy's broom. When building these brooms, there's not much to say about it because the only difference between these 3 brooms is that Harry's handle is a little bit crooked. So let me get back to you once I'm ready to start painting these brooms. Starting with Harry's broom. For Harry's broom, the front part of the broom, which is the handle of a broom in real life, is a color of light brown, while the back of the broom, or the bristles, is a lighter color brown, more or less a tan brown. Now for Malfoy's broom, there's a little bit of changes to it, with the broom having a straight handle, while Harry's broom having a more crooked handle. Also, the coloring for Malfoy's broom is completely black. Now, for Ron's flying broom, I decided to do it off screen, because, to be honest, a broom is a broom, and the brooms that I just built are pretty much the exact same. Now moving on to a second building design type that I decided to build, which I'm going to do in a faster video speed since it's also the exact same to the first building that I built. The only difference is there's a dome window in the front. You know that feeling when you start building something and you can't stop? Well, that's what happened to me here, and I got a little carried away. Which means I didn't hit record. So let me quickly explain what I built in this Hogsmeade area. Starting with these cylindrical windows, which I built multiple different colors of, with purple, green, and red. Next are these walls that I built, that fill up the empty spaces in this Hogsmeade area. Also, these walls I cannot take credit for, because they're inspired by another YouTuber. This YouTuber was Benny's Adventure. However, I'm afraid we have to end the video here, since I lost some of the files, or misplaced some of the files, as I was transferring it from my old computer to my new computer. As well as, this video will be way too long. So, I'll see you in the next episode, where we'll be finishing Hogsmeade and the Harry Potter area. So I guess, Bye for now.